What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of The Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and today I am only joined by one of my two usual co-hosts. Arrowhead Tom is busy tonight, unfortunately.
Working, man.
Kyle Henning here. Kyle, how are we doing today, sir?
I am not working this evening, so I'm probably doing a little bit better than Tom is. Although Tom enjoys his Friday evening gigs. I think it's Friday, Saturday. But
it is Friday.
And I'm getting to talk to you about Chiefs football, so I am doing better than Tom because he is not doing that at his other gig.
Yeah.
So there's that. And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm picking on Tom a little bit because, well, he's not here to defend himself, so why not?
You can't. I mean, what's he supposed to do? It's like a Tom. That's why you don't order well done steak or whatever he orders, you know?
Yeah, oh God, I don't even want to talk about the medium well steaks. Well, if you just order medium well, then you can always no. If I just order what I order, then it's never not. Oh, good Lord!
It's good that we're on the right side of this. You know, we know we're on the right side. Everyone's on the right side. We know who's boss. Country wasn't on the right side. I guess Country Boy said he was on Tom's side.
Country's
can't have it. Can't have it. Country can't do it. But yeah, we are back.
He got reamed on his own podcast, I think, for that take too. So it's fine.
Okay, good, very good. That's deserved. So we are on the right side.
And I'm in a good mood because we got confirmation of a special guest for next week for you guys. That's going to be fun.
Boom.
So
special guest in the building next week. Be on the lookout for that. But of course, it is Red Friday today, Saturday when you are watching this. Hopefully, we've got some Chiefs football going on here. You know, we've got week 2 coming up versus the Jaguars, trying to rebound after that very, very unfortunate week 1 loss.
Frustrating week 1.
Just very frustrating. Obviously, lacking 2 very key players that are making their debut this Sunday, 1 p.m. Arrowhead time, or 12 p.m. Arrowhead time,
correct.
1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. The only first slate of games that the Chiefs play this entire year. Pretty hilarious.
This is their only noon game.
Yeah, only noon game of the entire year. But yeah, Chris Jones and Travis Kelce are slated to make their season debuts versus the Jaguars. Exciting times. It's going to be very exciting. Obviously, having Travis Kelce back is really going to help the offense. Chris Jones being back in the building is always a good sign when you have Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So it's gearing up to be a good game, I think. We're going to talk about that. We've got some news to talk about after the fact. Some very notable news, of course. And a whole lot of other fun. So where are we starting, Kyle? Where should we start today?
I guess we should just get the old stuff that we talked about most of last podcast and the negative stuff out of the way first.
Sure.
We got the details of the Chris Jones.
We sure did get the details of Chris Jones' contract. Sure.
Okay.
Sure did. Huh? Took us about 24 hours to finally get them, but
so
we got them.
The Chiefs did what I thought they did, which I said last episode, which they did Chris Jones a very nice favor and gave him a way to make some money back that his representation may or may not have ill-advisedly cost him. Take everything that I said roughly about the Katz brothers and company on the last episode and amplify that by 10, 20, 50 maybe.
Yeah.
After seeing the details, they won literally, and I mean literally, 0 parts of this agreement.
Congratulations, you did nothing. Yeah.
I was joking mildly with some friends that also kind of cover this team and do the podcast thing and enjoy and kind of know the minutia and get in the nitty gritty of the stuff. We were joking at one point that we could have gotten Chris's deal done, a better deal for Chris done than what they did at one point. I was joking at one point. I'm no longer kidding.
Not too far-fetched. Yeah. It really showed you what the bottom requirement is to be an agent.
It's very simple the way this breaks down.
Any Jimmy or Sally listens to this, you can step outside right now and be an agent in the NFL.
No, you can't. Not a good one. Please don't do that. Jesus Lord. Go to law school, go to college, go to agent school, and learn the business.
You can be
and
just
then
like
follow the business
and have no experience and no idea what you're doing whatsoever.
They used to work for Rosenhaus, so I don't know how they can have no experience, but they definitely don't know what they're doing in this level. Mm-hmm. It's very the way that the simplest way I can say this is they took $75 guaranteed million that Chris Jones had the opportunity to earn from this year through 2026, I believe, 25, 26. Basically this year and the 2 following years after. So 23-24 this year, 24-25 next year, 25-26 the year after. That would have basically been 75 guaranteed $1 million because it was this year's 20 million is already guaranteed, already locked in. You're already getting that 20 from this year's deal. Then they would have given him 2 additional years of 55 guaranteed. This is all reported numbers that have come out on this contract negotiation. That was a deal offered. Multiple places have put it out. They offered him 55 million that was basically fully guaranteed over the 2 additional years, and then an additional 3rd year on top of that in the extension that had a bunch of money in it. Great. They turned that down.
They sure did, huh?
For him to sit out, miss $4 million to get it built back in, which, by the way, the Chiefs, this is the part that we actually want to talk about here.
The Chiefs. Yeah.
There's no way that they won any facet of that portion of the deal of the numbers I just gave you because and you'll hear why in a minute. Because now his cap number, and these are numbers off of Over the Cap, by the way, because Brad Spielberg over there did a huge write-up on this whole deal and how the Chiefs did all this, so shout out to Brad.
Shout out.
They took all the incentives from this year, which is like $6.75 million, and they did something that I didn't think they would ever do, which is use void years. They never play with void years.
But they know what void years are
they
now.
did void years in a way
that
I've never, ever seen it done before. They took a $100 option bonus and stuck it in next year in 2024. And that option has to be picked up within 7 days of the Super Bowl. And if it's picked up, it's paid out over the cap, and it's split into the void years of the contract, which there's like 4 of them that go out till 2027. The current sitting on Over the Cap right now shows the cap number for his contract in 2024 is $80.
How do they do it, folks? You can't keep letting them get away with this.
Tillis
They can't keep getting away with this.
Ridiculously good at what he does. This is just another example of being extremely good at what he does. Because he's also now taggable for under $30 million, I think, next year, which is basically what they were going to pay him anyway for guarantees, which was like $27 million next year. Which, here again, you could have just signed the contract and now been okay. So now we didn't do that. So now you're still taggable. Now all this other stuff is in play. Now they built in all these incentives to hopefully get you to what the money you were going to get this year anyway, for the most part. And because you took $4 million in fines and you only built about $4 million in incentives into the deal for this year. So 4 to 5. So yeah, great.
Yeah, not much.
You basically net neutral that. So now next year, you're a year older. And who's the defensive tackle next year that's going to get the market from where Quinnen Williams got his deal at 20, basically 24.5, and get closer to that Aaron Donald number? Can anybody? No? Nope, that'd be no one.
Nobody. I don't think there's
anybody
else.
So now you're a year older, and if you don't have as good a season as last year, then you don't have any leg to stand on to get more money than they were going to offer you when you were a year younger on a guarantee. And if you if you severely drop off or even a little bit considerably drop off, they definitely are going to give you a lesser contract offer because your production declined. Say you go out and you ball out. Okay, but you're still a year older and now you're deeper into the prime, and now we're not 100% sure about giving you that 3rd year. Now we're down to 2-year guarantees here.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's
it's just bad.
It certainly seems like the holdout, and there's been a lot of kind of comparisons to all the holdouts.
It's one of the worst holdouts we've ever seen.
Yeah, and to be
from
clear,
a what you got perspective.
And to be clear, almost no holdouts actually end up being very good, especially with the new CBA. I don't think there's been any that have actually ended up good for the player. So this, especially, it's like he literally just lost out. I mean, he gained nothing from this. The whole holdout, he gained absolutely nothing. They added these incentives to get him back to what he would have made this season, but in terms of new money, there's barely anything. He can earn almost $2 million more, I think, total this season. It's
So
was it really worth it? Was it really worth it to miss all of training camp and preseason and all that? I don't know.
6 months ago, I didn't
I don't
think we
so.
were going to get here because I said for months that the CBA is literally built so that this is completely and totally logically detrimental to the players and it doesn't do them any good. So I didn't think he had representation that I thought had some competency, frankly. I'm not trying to be like completely destroy these guys, but Jesus, man.
You thought sure dang wrong.
And so
gained nothing out of it.
I didn't ever think we would get here, and I don't think Chris did either, because we talked about it in the press conference when Teicher asked him if he would change his vacation spot to St. Joe, and he said probably. Look, man, I don't. Sometimes you get bad advice, and sometimes you take bad advice, and I think that's what's happened here. And I hope.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I will say he got out of this is he learned how to handle himself very professionally and very well in press conferences, because he nailed every time he was at a podium during this. He was very good. Twitter,
Ronald McDonald
that's a totally separate subject. Yeah. Twitter's a separate conversation. But the Ronald McDonald House, and then his first interview back a couple days ago at the podium after the whole thing was done. He stood in, did it professionally, did his thing, said what he was supposed to say, did what he was supposed to do, moved through it. I do not believe that he is happy with how this whole thing ended. I'm sorry. I know he said it. I don't believe you. He said what he was supposed to say.
We're going to see a different Chris Jones on the field this Sunday, I do believe.
It's a contract year again.
It is the contract year, and he is hungry. I mean, he's fresh. He has no wear on his body. I don't know if he's going to be on much of a pitch count or not, but let's just say having Chris Jones out there with a vengeance, he's going to be having a good time, especially with some injuries that have
made it clear he does not want to be on a pitch count. Spags is like, he's trying to do all the reps, and we're having to hold him back. Andy was asked about it, and Andy was like, yeah, we'll see how he goes. And I'm like, yeah, right.
I mean, we will see. We will see. I mean, he said he's been training. I believe him, but it's just game speed is a little bit different. So
right. To wrap the contract stuff up so we don't have to talk about it anymore until February.
You don't want to talk about it anymore?
No, I don't. I'm so over it. The player option that's $100 that they built into 24 is a bonkers way to not get the incentives to hit the caps this year. It's a crazy maneuver. By the way,
the NFL is in trouble if Veach and Co keep on doing this kind of stuff.
Here's the other part of that. Here's the other part of this. You better be Chris Jones' level of good and have Chris Jones' level of relationship with the organization, because I don't think that they do this for anybody and everybody. This is we're being nice. Thank you for your time. We're doing you a favor here, because we could legitimately not do this and be just the same spot we're basically in now, and not do something we don't traditionally do in void years and all this other stuff. But we're doing it because you matter to us, and we think you've gotten some bad advice. Idiots. Which is what I told you guys. He was saying that politely in his statement with it Veach released. Like he said as much. It's
going to be interesting to see, but we do know the Chiefs know what void years are now, so that's at least
they will do it. But I don't think unless your name is Patrick, Chris, or Travis, they're doing it anytime soon for anybody else.
I don't know. TBD. You know, maybe Snead, maybe someone. I don't know. TBD.
I don't know, but I do know that we don't have to worry about him until February, and maybe we'll be dealing with different representation by then. We shall see. He's got.
We can only hope so. I mean,
decision.
By golly, can we only hope so? Chris, just fire them. Anyways, the game's going to be a good game here. Obviously, Travis Kelce also returning after potentially tearing his patella and his.
No, they thought he broke his tibia at one point.
Yeah, and they thought,
according to Jay Glazer,
injury. All of a sudden, nope, it's just a bone bruise.
I will say, according to Jay Glazer on that, because I'm gonna let him die on that sword if that's not true, because he's the one that said it.
Dog. I mean, Jay Glazer.
I know, but Jay's also had some stuff that has been refuted in the past because it came from.
Jay Glazer. I mean, he gets that extra.
I love Jay. I think Jay's great. Jay's been around the business a really, really long time. But I'm still gonna put his name on it. 1 for credit and 2 for just in case something bad.
There you go. But so good to see. It's gonna be good to see Travis Kelce out there making a very swift return. Had to get that in there.
We're going to get all kinds of these.
Crazily enough, this week, the bigger news of Travis Kelce hasn't even been that he's going to be playing football this week. It's
I disagree.
Been something else.
I disagree. The big
know.
news. The big news was him
I don't know.
shoulder jumping into Chris Jones the first day back on the practice field.
That was
for
some
both
big
of them.
news, but I don't know if it was as big as news as the other news.
Oh God, are we doing this now?
I mean, it's news segment, It's new news,
No, it's not new. Okay, it is new news, but it's not.
It is very new news.
All right. Taylor Swift and Travis have been quietly hanging out, supposedly.
Boom.
So
let's go, Trav.
This has led to, as you would naturally assume, one of the weirder crossovers, the Swiftie Chiefs Twitter crossovers.
Didn't have this one on the bingo card, I'll tell you that much.
There has been some fireworks because certain members of Chiefs Kingdom Twitter like to poke bears with sticks, and they went in and naturally messed with a angry beehive that can be, and I don't even want to use beehive because I think that might be copyrighted by the other fan base that can be that way, which is Beyonce's crew.
You don't want to, you don't want to do that.
But so Taylor Swift, Travis, remember, had wanted to give her a bracelet with his number on it or whatever when she was in town. That didn't apparently happen, but come to find out, I guess supposedly they've been hanging out quietly according to some sites. We don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting to see. That led us down a rabbit hole because we
have done our own little investigative journalism here.
There's been all kinds of strange content on Twitter. There was a certain conspiracy theory shared by a Chief Swiftie, I guess you could call it. I don't know. I don't want to accredit things to her that aren't technically what she claims to be, but I think that's what this was.
It might be a Chief Swiftie.
She pointed out that Taylor was from Pennsylvania, is an Eagles fan from that area. So that led me to look up where exactly Taylor was from, which is turns out West Reading, Pennsylvania, which also looks like West Reading, depending on which version of the English language you're using. And it led me to pull up actually West Reading, Pennsylvania. And when we were scrolling through the notable people in West Reading, Pennsylvania,
turns out
we stumbled upon Chad Henne's name, which could be a coincidence, or maybe Chad was doing some behind the scenes meetup matchmaker. Hey, you're from my hometown. My boy wanted to meet you. How's it going, Taylor? Type thing. Because just so you guys are aware, this town is a total of 4,900 people in it.
It's a small town. Everybody
ain't very big.
Yeah,
families know each other. So
I bet Chad Henne has ran into.
I'm not telling you that Chad Henne set up Travis and Tyler and Taylor, but I'm telling you there's a better chance that he did than that he did.
You cannot rule it out that Chad Henne played matchmaker on this.
He has a cousin that hung out with her in high school because they all went to the same high schools, and so we'll see. Who knows?
I mean, come on,
Just happened to stumble across that when we were hilariously making slight light of the situation pre-show, and then we had to share that with you all.
Good for
investigative journalism over here.
Yeah, good for Trav.
We're doing the journalisming, right? Is that how we do? Is that how you do that, Florio? We
do be doing the journalism, and I tell you what, good for Travis Kelce. Hope all works out. He might. I mean, worst case scenario, he ends up in a song, and that's kind of cool too. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
As far as the field goes, I don't think you're going to see teams play 96% zone or whatever it was that the Lions played against the Chiefs.
No, I don't think
because if you play that much zone against Travis Kelce, it's going to hurt.
Buddy, you about to find out. Because unlike every other receiver that the Chiefs have, Travis Kelce knows how to find them
So do we want to jump into the offensive side of this matchup?
Let's jump into the offensive side of the matchup because the offense
covering Travis Kelce with.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The offense obviously was the weaker point of week one, only putting up 21 points. But you have Travis Kelce back, and we all know there's nobody you can cover Travis Kelce with. I mean, you can't do a linebacker. That's for dang sure.
Are you going to put Chad Muma on him?
No.
Devin Lloyd?
No, you ain't putting Chad Muma on him. No.
How about Olakun? No?
I don't think so.
What do you say, Olakun? No. Josh Allen's not covering him.
Yeah.
Trayvon Walker? That seems like a good idea.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Ooh, Andre Cisco. Yeah, burnt toast.
That's the guy. That is the guy right there. Old dirty head Cisco.
Dude, he's
Yeah, well, headhunter Cisco, that's what they call him now.
It's bad.
Not great reputation for old Andre there. Hopefully, we don't see too much of him, but we probably will.
Your quarterback is pissed.
Sure is.
that press conference, his facial expressions, they looked similar to what was on the sideline on
Not
Thursday in
pleased.
Detroit.
Not pleased at all. And it's about to be his birthday too.
His
Sunday is
birthday
his
is
birthday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
He's frustrated. You could tell he was just aggravated in the pressers even at this point. He's ready to get
That
that
means
taste
one
out of his
thing.
mouth,
Yeah.
mostly because this has already been 7 days. Now we're on day 8, and by the time you're hearing this, we're on day 9 from since they've played last. So
The long drag losing
he's
on a Thursday night like that.
beyond irritated at this point.
And we know what happens with a pissed off Mahomes. We sure do. From history, if history tells us anything, we might see old Levon mode come out.
I
We might see
feel
some scorched earth Patrick Mahomes on
somewhat
Sunday.
concerned for this Jaguars team has a history of catching the Chiefs in bad moments when Patrick is ready to display things or showcase things. And every time they've run into this team, they've gotten buzzsawed. I think they're 7-0 against them in their last 7.
Yeah,
the Chiefs
I
are against the
don't
Jags.
think Andy Reid's lost the Jaguars in like 20 years or something. I saw.
Well, I think the Chiefs are 7-0 in their last 7 against them, so that tracks.
Yeah.
Look, the offense, Kadarius is going to get the ball. He is. They're going to try to feed him different things to get him going again and get his confidence back into him. Travis is going to get the ball because I think Travis was in more pain watching from the sideline on Thursday, not playing in that game and watching what was happening than he probably was during the rest of the process from a mental perspective. Maybe not as much physical pain, but I guarantee you mentally he was just absolutely losing it because you could see him trying to contain his frustrations and stuff on the sideline.
He was pissed. Yeah.
And
that's very tough moment to be sitting there kind of helpless on the sideline while your team.
They don't have a matchup for him. We just went over the matchup. They don't have a matchup for him. I don't think that they're going to generate enough pressure against this offensive line with Mahomes and co that they have. There's not enough there. I just don't know where they get enough pressure from. That leads me to think that the Chiefs are, as Garrett mentioned, going to kind of go scorch Patrick Mahomes' earth here.
This should be a good, we should definitely see a full display of the Chiefs offense. Who's the Jaguars defensive coordinator?
I assume they're aiming for 30s, mid 30s is their expectation here.
Yeah.
You said who's their DC or?
Yeah, I'm looking up Mike Caldwell.
It's Caldwell, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. So
yeah, Caldwell. So say, and it's his first year in Jacksonville as the DC.
Okay. So you're gonna be a different, but I mean, yeah, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes off of a loss like that, having an extra time to really prepare, getting Travis Kelce back. The receivers is going to be interesting to see kind of who has the day in the receiver room. Obviously,
I think they're going to spread the ball around.
Yeah.
Now that Travis is on the field to actually do what Travis was intended to do in this offense, I think the ball's going to move around.
To really force any one person because they used a heavy dosage of Kadarius Toney. Obviously, he was kind of maybe not ready for the moment quite yet. I do think they go back to him in this game and get him some redemption because that's a big confidence builder to have a bounce back game like that for him. Didn't see much of MVS. I think that was kind of the Lions' plan was to eliminate MVS. So
who else are you taking away once Travis is there?
He's another viable option for you.
He was 2 for 2 for 50 yards. He just only had 2 targets.
Sky Moore, I think will be interesting to see how he rebounds after he wasn't targeted. That's just the problem.
Can everybody calm down with he had some drops, but the drops were also on scramble drill, go ball, crazy stuff that were it hit him in the hands. Now, should you catch the ball when it hits you in the hands?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Is that a scripted play? Is that like a drawn up route? No. Is a lot of this route some option routes? Yes. Is that what I'm referring to when I say option route? No. That's called scramble drill. That's different. So it lets everybody calm down. Now, you want to have concerns about the separation that he was getting in some areas? Okay.
Maybe.
There are different eyeballs on these guys when Travis Kelce's not on the field.
Exactly.
It's just how it works. So they took away some different things. Again, they played a ton of zone, and you saw young guys struggling with finding holes in the zone, and that's getting a feel thing. And I think as the season progresses, they'll get more and more comfortable with it. But also, when Travis isn't out there, people are in different positions, so they're changing their zone assignments. They're different places than they're used to being. It was ugly. They had like 36 hours to get ready. They've had a lot of time. Travis is playing. This offense is going to hurt things, and Mike Caldwell may end up being a very good defensive coordinator.
Andy Reid to get baptized by
Andy Reid against first-year defensive coordinators is unfun for them traditionally.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Also, he was the linebackers coach in Tampa. Is I think his previous titles here from what I'm seeing. Good on him. Good luck to him.
Good luck. Good luck. Have fun to him.
I don't know if they haven't updated their site. This may be his second year, but I'm trying to verify from.
It might. I mean, he might have came over with Doug Peterson. So
yeah,
he's already lost to Andy Reid twice, so he knows how to lose to Andy Reid, and Andy Reid has his number. But that being said,
that's true too.
Yeah, one of the points to talk about on the offense, the run game. Obviously, Andy Reid's allergic to running inside the ball, even though we have the best interior offensive line in the NFL. The Jaguars defensive line, not as foreboding as what we might have saw versus Detroit.
Yeah, this is
so hopefully we should kind of get some more run action going on there. Now Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be out for the game probably.
They have him listed as questionable or doubtful.
Yeah, so
he
been
may
sick
or may not on and off all week.
So we're going to see a little bit more Pacheco. We should see a lot more of Jerick McKinnon.
I think they'll probably see P. Ryan.
Practice squad elevation for P. Ryan.
I do want to clarify Caldwell. This will be his second season because he was there last year as well.
Of course, shout out Mike Caldwell for being already 0-2 versus Andy Reid. So yeah, I think the run game. Hopefully they kind of don't shy away from it as much. Stop with the cute stuff and just let them guys run downhill with it and just start running some good old fashioned smash mouth football. Just start getting those interior guys working.
They are weak. They're not strong up the middle. I really hope they do run the ball up the middle.
I sure hope. I want to.
The only problem is I think that they're still going to do all the RPO stuff, and I think Patrick is going to be pulling the ball a lot.
Yeah,
pulling the ball to throw it.
See that.
So they're gonna. I hope that they pound the middle and stop running as much outside zone when they have the strength of their offensive line is up to gut. I mean, I know the tackles are much better on the edges this year, and I know Andy likes to run to the edges.
Though every play,
oh Jesus!
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. We're not. We're
Absolutely
absolutely not.
Ridiculous. Not doing it. Okay.
Duke Merriweather can explain it to you better than I will ever be able to. He's got about 1,000 tweets and breakdowns on how this is not a conversation. You guys want to talk to me about alignment? Great. Well, fix it across the entire league because everybody lines up that way. So
as far as the timing of the snap, he's timing the snap. I mean, AQ Shipley said it on the Pat McAfee show that he's just literally
Brian Balaga, Lane
every
Johnson,
offensive lineman can tell
Trent
you.
Williams.
That's like
you remember when Chiefs fans thought Trent Williams was false starting every time he took a snap?
Yeah. Like if you hear it from literally any offensive line around the league, like what Jawan Taylor was doing, that's like pinnacle of time in the snap. Like it's
part of understanding the rule book. As long as his foot doesn't hit the back set, I believe the way it breaks down is as long as when he's coming out into that rock set, as long as that foot doesn't hit the ground and he's set before that ball is snapped, he's fine.
Yeah,
which is stupid. I don't know why they set the rules up the way they do. But they wrote them a certain way, and offensive linemen have been taking care of them, taking advantage of them for years, and they're not going to stop until you call it.
Yeah, the NFL did send out a league-wide memo saying that they're going to look at the alignment stuff particularly, and even a little bit of the false start, I guess.
We'll see. Thursday, the game we watched yesterday, same thing. Both sides of teams. Both sides of the ball.
I don't know who's the ref for this game. That would be something good to know because classic Chiefs, they'll probably just wait till the last drives like they did versus Detroit and then call it,
Well, they did. That's what happened in the game Thursday night. It didn't get called all night until like the end of the night, and then it got called once.
Exactly. So classic NFL and refs, just knowing exactly what they're doing at all times. Psych. But yeah, overall.
I think the offense is hanging mid-30s.
Yeah,
I'll just go ahead and give you a sneak peek to my prediction on the offensive side.
I think the offense is definitely going to bounce back and look a lot sharper than they did in week 1. Shouldn't see as much of that just kind of growing pains that we expected. I mean, it's still early in the season, but I think especially with what they saw on tape and what kind of transpired, I think they'll really hammer it home to
what Patrick saw on tape. I need to put stickum on their hands.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, maybe just draw some easier concepts. They can just, get some guys motivated.
Somewhat,
guys,
man. Those balls are hitting people wide open in the hands.
I mean,
Kadarius,
not much you can do.
And that's what I wanted to say on the Kadarius thing. There were a lot of folks that thought Kadarius was going to be captain non-available from all the way through till Sunday. I heard it from multiple radio hosts in Kansas City that they didn't expect to see Kadarius in the locker room for media availability, and they didn't expect to see him at the podium. Mind you, press conference day,
he wasn't even
scheduled individuals for the podium were Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones. Kadarius was not on there. Kadarius went to the podium and answered questions and took responsibility, owned everything, took all the questions and all of the. I like our media, I do, but sometimes you guys ask some of these questions.
Them, especially
I'm not even gonna go down those roads. There's some things that I wish some folks wouldn't do, but yes.
Yeah.
Some of the questions, y'all, about the social media stuff and some of the stuff that some of you don't seem to understand fully. It's funny to me that he handled it, and it's excellent that he handled it the way that he did. They troll me, I troll them. It's fine. It's how I handle it. That's my relationship.
And there
That's
you
not
go.
y'all's stuff. It's also not anything for us to worry about.
No.
It's not any of our business, frankly. Now, I'd be the first to tell you that I wouldn't have probably rolled my Instagram account back out after having the game that I had, but at the same time,
you kind of have to respect
hold on.
It. I mean, he was like, you know what? I'm down, but I'm back, baby.
I have to say this. At the same time, it took the Giants wide receiver core until midway through the third quarter to have more yards than Kadarius Toney did.
Yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I absolutely loved that Instagram chirp back. I mean, it's just, you got to respect it, having a bad game like that.
But then to question and ask him some of the stuff that he got asked, like,
I'm back,
I get
baby.
you guys are trying to ask him questions and get into him a little bit, but like, his level of, I got this, that's a different level of, I don't know how he would have answered all that last year. Because remember last year when he had the little bit of stuff and everybody was like that, he's like, I just tweet what I tweet and I say what I say, and it just kind of blew it off.
Classic answer.
That seems to be a different method of approach, and that's a bit different. Plus, like I said, he wasn't supposed to be on there, and he didn't have to be available after that. He could have not gone to the podium. Kind of looked like he chose to.
Yeah, that's it is a good sign.
I liked it.
I have came out of this whole thing liking it more than I haven't, I'll say
he's been apparently there every day after practice longer, catching balls out of the jugs machine, getting extra working with quarterbacks. So he knows. Let's let everybody. I know it was overreactions in week 1 and all that stuff. I think we're gonna be okay on that side of the ball.
Cut him. It's like, are you guys stupid? anyways, offense. I think we're gonna look a lot better. Defensive wise. I mean, the defense played great last week. You can't even
14 points, man.
They let up 14 points to a playoff winning, playoff
team. Offense. That's a playoff offense.
Just straight up what happened. And they were missing Chris Jones and Charles Omenihu, which they're still going to miss. But I mean, the D-line, they looked okay. They were generating some pressure with Mike Dana going inside out. We had Felix getting in there. Keandre Coburn had a couple good penetrations, but
George is consistent all night, constantly
George is
doing
always
what
going
George
to be a
does.
dog. He's always going to be around the quarterback. But having Chris Jones back there now, I mean, it's honestly, especially with the Jaguars' offensive line having a couple injuries, right? They have Brandon Scherf, the starting guard, who was
briefly to roll this injury report. Clyde, which we already mentioned, questionable at the moment with some illness, did not participate. Chris Jones will be ready to roll. Travis, according to everything we're hearing, even though he's technically listed as questionable and everything we've seen, he's going.
He's going, baby.
L'Jarius Sneed, no designation, just limited. I think you're going to see that all year. I think you're going to see the practice management of his knee all season.
But then the Jaguars,
they're not interested in putting any extra miles on his knee right now.
But then the Jaguars,
the rest of the guys are full participants. Nick Bolton had a personal day today. Hopefully that Nick's all good. Family's all gravy. There's no issues. Hope he's cool. Don't need any more information other than you had a personal day. We're not one of those podcasts. It's like, why don't they tell us?
Then the
No,
Jaguars.
we don't care.
But then the Jaguars.
They got a couple of guys that are backups in the secondary that are out in Antonio Johnson and Gregory Jr. But they are currently have their guard and center, and not just any guard. Brandon Scherf, who Chiefs fans should be familiar with.
Yeah, one of the top paid guards in the league.
Is currently nursing an ankle. He was a non-participant Wednesday and limited both Thursday and Friday, and there is questions on his availability. And then there's starting center Luke Fortner. Same thing, ankle, did not participate Wednesday, limited Thursday, Friday, and questions of his availability. Chris Jones is what they built this defense around. Okay? Long and short of it, this is what the Chiefs built the defense around. That's who they anticipated this whole setup for this year being around. They went out and basically did a above average job without him and only allowing 14 points against a playoff offense. Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a very good offense. If that offensive line is banged up, and if they have backups in, even if they don't have backups in it, you've got a guard and a center on bad ankles. You have two good ankles between two guys. That's not ideal with Chris Jones lining up across from you.
Chris Jones sure did pick a good week to come back because, yeah, the Jaguars, especially, I mean, they lost Jawan Taylor, obviously, in free agency last year.
Hey, where'd he go?
Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, no biggie. I think Chris Jones is going to have a phenomenal game. I mean, he's back with the vengeance. Obviously, he's trying to win Defensive Player of the Year to get some of those incentives back, so he's going to be full bore the entire year, I think. I would almost pencil in a Chris Jones sack as a betting if you were to sprinkle a little on that.
If you could find some odds on that, I would probably see what those look like.
Yeah, I would sprinkle some on that.
Actually, let me see if I can.
That should be a pretty good bet. The rest of the defense, obviously, there's a couple other injuries that we talked about, but mostly everyone's going to be good to go. The linebackers should be pretty solid. Hopefully, we might see a little bit more Drew Tranquill on the field this week. As they're getting
I genuinely don't know who their backup right guard is. There's not one listed on their depth chart. Blake Hance is listed as the backup left guard, but I'm assuming him or Tyler Shatley will play right guard if necessary, but that Shatley's their backup center, so they're going to have to be filling some holes. You also mentioned that they lost their right tackle to us. Their new right tackle is Anton Harrison.
Rookie, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And their left tackle is Walker Little, the 4th or 5th round kid from Stanford from 2 years ago. Yeah.
I think it was about 2 years ago. So not the greatest protection for Trevor Lawrence and the boys, but obviously Trevor Lawrence is
they have weapons. They have skill position players. They have a quarterback.
One of the better, even Mike Dana said in the presser, one of the better kind of passers in the league, honestly. If you look at young quarterbacks around the league, he's up there. I mean, he doesn't have as much success as some other guys, but he is definitely flirting that conversation of top 5 quarterbacks. And he's got some weapons this year. Obviously, he has Travis Etienne still. He's always a really dynamic threat. Calvin Ridley has absolutely dominated in week 1 for them. So that's a huge game. They still have Christian Kirk, and they have a couple other. Have Evan Ingram there, so they got some weapons. I mean, they've got some noticeable weapons that can really deal the ball.
There's no Chris Jones sack line on DraftKings that I see at the moment. This podcast is not sponsored by DraftKings, but would happily be so if they're interested. Yeah. But I do see George Karlaftis at plus 210 for over on 0.25, so over a quarter of a sack. So
that's all I use, a half sack.
Yeah, that I might smell and look into, because if Trevor's running away from Chris Jones, he may just run right into George's lap once or twice.
Yeah, we might see some scrambling out of old Trevor Lawrence.
I might sprinkle a little curiosity,
especially with how the secondary was playing last week. I think
Mike Dana also
get some coverage sacks like that really add up and make Trevor get a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket there.
Mike Dana also plus 250 at having 1 sack essentially, because he needs more than over 0.75, over 3/4 of a sack. So just a couple of little fun lines that I like from that sack conversation you mentioned.
Who is going to be, Kyle, your defensive player to watch besides Chris Jones this Sunday?
That's tough, man. I kind of want to see how much Trent gets to see of Calvin Ridley.
That was going to be my answer too. Yeah.
With Trent and that, and how often they see L'Jarius starts to see, because I think the other matchup that's interesting, since you were going to go down the Trent route. I'll let you do that. I think the other one for me is how much we see Drew Tranquil on Evan Ingram, and how much that linebacker core, how they address Evan Ingram, because this defense has struggled with tight ends before, like forever.
A lot.
And so I'm curious to see how they adapt to that, adjust to that. More Drew Tranquil would be my hope and thought process. I know that they're probably a little apprehensive to start with because he's backing up Willie as the green dot, so they don't want to have him on the field all the time. But at the same time, he's your best coverage linebacker by a comfortable margin, and I'd like to see him on the field.
If you want to tame Evan Ingram, I think you're going to need to see some Drew Tranquil in there.
No offense to Justin Reed, I don't like seeing Justin Reed in man coverage on tight ends, especially not on wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown. But
fortunately, Justin Reed just hasn't proven enough that he can be.
He's a safety.
He can be
Stop asking your safety to one-on-one cover receivers sometimes. It just doesn't make sense. But I get sometimes you're trying to be with your defense, you're doing disguise stuff, and guys end up on other guys, and you have to ask him to do that.
Right.
But that's not his forte, okay? Him in one-on-one coverage against Amon-Ra St. Brown is not what we call a win for the defense from a matchup perspective.
Yeah, to be fair, Spags kind of setting him up for failure, but also just need to see him overcome those challenges a little bit more. So hopefully we see a little bit more Drew Tranquil. I do agree with that. My guy I'm looking out for, Trent McDuffie. Obviously, he had a pretty big game last week. And he's only going to improve, I think. I think the matchup between him and Calvin Ridley will be a good one. They'll probably end up matching him, putting on a couple other guys too, Christian Kirk maybe. I'll maybe put Christian Kirk up against like Josh Williams and something like that. But Trent McDuffie, I mean, just such a rising player in this league, really going to be a solid cornerback for the Chiefs for a long time, I think. I think this is a guy you can really build a defense around, a la Marcus Peters, where you kind of eventually you're going to have the shutdown side of the field type guy,
Easy.
He's wearing the same number. He's wearing
Don't
the
say
same
that
number.
name too loud. People around here get.
I will say it as loudly as long as I love Marcus Peters, who is now.
Lots of people do. Lots of people also don't.
Yeah, sure. He's a polarizing guy. I tell you what. But Trent McDuffie,
I never had a problem with Marcus Peters.
There you go.
But I know lots of people that very much do not like Marcus Peters.
Yeah,
also, not saying that the Chiefs necessarily made a bad decision in letting some other teams deal with some of the let's call them decisions he's made over the last
decisions. Yeah.
And
he's still been a pretty good player.
He's had some injury struggles, which sucks for him, but also kind of glad the Chiefs didn't have to screw with.
He did tear his ACL or something at the very beginning of last season, I think. Or
he had a couple years in a row where he had stupid, bad, nasty, freak injury stuff.
What would have happened if it was on the Chiefs? I'm just saying.
Oh no, I like Marcus. I just know that not everybody did. Trent is very much not the same mentality as Marcus.
To round it out, Trent McDuffie, I think, a lot different player, and also I think has a potential to have a higher ceiling for sure.
So not as much flash, not as much
flash, but a lot more meat. I'll tell you that much. A lot more. Just all of a sudden, you look back at the game, and he's only allowed 2 catches for 18 yards, something crazy like that.
He's very, very consistent with shutting people up.
So excited to see his development along with the rest of the secondary and see how they fare against old Trevor Lawrence and the boys, because they're a pretty pass-heavy offense, and they're gonna be slinging the ball. So.
Yeah, I don't think we have any special teams blunders. I think Tobe's paying attention this week because Doug Peterson exists and they know each other and there's history there. And I don't think we're going to have another one of those. I don't know if we see losing our minds moment.
Or anything crazy.
That said, we've gotten kind of through the meat of it here.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
Score predictions. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Are you referring to the score predictions?
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. The over under was what, 49? You said
51 is what I got it at on the old Kings of Draft.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs obviously come back out on top this week. I think they prove a point that they are not dead. And I think it's unfortunately not very close for the Jaguars. I mean, I'm not sure. Like you said, we were talking pre-show, maybe a tease for the alternate 9.5 spread. I can see them easily winning by 10. I'll probably go with something like a 34-24 Chiefs as something that I'd feel pretty good about. Just a solid overall good day. Get a couple of good tuds in there for the boys and keep them going.
We're on similar numbers. I'm feeling like that 34-20, 34-21 range, probably 34-20, just because I don't think this defense is going to give up a bunch of touchdowns again. The defense looked really good against Detroit, and I think this Jacksonville offensive line is banged up and not as good as Detroit's was. And I don't know that Detroit's was excellent, but they were good enough.
Yeah.
And I think the skill position players are pretty similar, so I don't know. And the quarterback is better. We'll argue that. But it's more of a style that this defense sees every day in practice. So I think Spags will have them pretty ready to go, and Chris is going to be chomping at the bit to get going at this year. I've got them, like I said, 34. We'll go 34-20. I just think there's a couple of field goals in there for Jacksonville.
I can easily see that happening.
That said, that means that the DraftKings spread of -3.5 and the total of 51 would both be something I would be interested in there. Maybe putting them together in a little meet if you want to tease that line to 9.5.
No anytime touchdown scores. I tell you what, because if I bet
Garrett's not having fun with that, so he doesn't want to go down that road. I would say this:
you fumble out the back of the end zone.
I would say this: if you want to look at anytime touchdown scores, Kadarius Toney is a nice option at +235. Also, Jerick McKinnon at +300.
It's probably gonna end up being freaking.
It's not something I would put a ton on, but sprinkle a little bit. Put a unit on it or a half unit on it and see what happens. Worth a look. What I would look at putting a little more confidence behind a unit or two would be the Chiefs to cover the 3.5 and the over. If you want to get a little feisty and have a little more fun parlay, you can put that 9.5 alternate spread on there.
Probably hammer Kelce's over on yards too. If you're
I would look for Kelce's. If you're looking for player prop stuff like that, and like touchdown score props,
Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards, whatever that is, hammer the over because he always that's an automatic.
They're going to start to adjust for that, I think.
You would think so, but every week you're like, oh, that might be a little high, and then it's not.
Oh no, 22.5 over.
You can catch that one right there, and then
over 22.5 rushing yards. He just runs too much anymore. Probably, so. It's just he likes to make the extra play on his feet.
He does like to run. I mean, he do like to be running. So yeah,
but he also doesn't get. He also doesn't do the Josh Allen where he goes and swan dives 6 yards short of the first down marker into 4 guys and gets destroyed for it either. So there's
fumbles it 4 times during the game and whatnot.
Oh,
that's a very embarrassing loss there.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy that actually probably was the most embarrassing loss of the week. Well, week 1 was the Bills losing to the Jets there. It couldn't be us.
Which I would have never said prior to how the week started because I would have never had Aaron Rodgers popping his Achilles tendon.
That is tough.
4 freaking plays into the season.
He's gonna be back though. He's gonna be back.
I hope he comes back because maybe for the love of Lord, we will actually get to see Aaron Rodgers play Patrick Mahomes because we have been robbed again this year.
Third time in the Mahomes era, we've been robbed of an Aaron Rodgers matchup. First time was Mahomes was injured.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this because now when we get him,
Rodgers got COVID.
Now when we get him, if we do get him next year, it's going to be, well, he was 41 or 42 or whatever and past his prime and off the Achilles injury and this.
We still beat him. All right, we still win by 20. Anyways, with that being said, that is about all we've got for you on this episode. Be sure, obviously, everyone will be watching 12 noon Pacific time, not Pacific time, Arrowhead time, 10 a.m. Pacific time
is 1 p.m.
1 p.m. The time zones, man. I always look at it as 10 a.m.
It's a noon kick at Arrowhead, boys and girls. Yeah. That's what you need to know.
Of course. So tune in for that one. It's going to be a good game.
You also need to follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel and like these videos for us.
Yeah, follow our YouTube.
We've got a ton of stuff.
Pod. Need to do that. Kingdom Recon episodes are still going strong, obviously.
Discord channel popping out soon.
Very soon. Be sure to follow our socials, of course. Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Not Spaces, or not.
Threads.
Instagram, Threads, of course. Yeah,
Follow us on Threads.
Threads is
Just go
dead, but you
ahead.
can follow us there anyways. Yeah.
I still have the Threads login for our account. It's still over there. It still
When
works.
was the last time you
I
opened
still
the
have
Threads app on your phone, Kyle?
2 days ago.
Actually, Instagram has it in the app.
It's like
that they show
on the app now.
Thread posts because they're
Well,
like,
they did
oh,
it
no
like
one's going
YouTube.
to
They
this
put the
anymore.
shorts into the app itself, so they don't have to.
So maybe Threads is alive still, but probably not. Mostly just Facebook and X.
It's a combo app. It'll be fine. Follow
Mostly
us on
X.
all the platforms.
Yeah, mostly X though. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. Anyways, that is all that we've got for you today. Like, subscribe, follow
YouTube.
Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. We will see you guys on the next. What was that?
See our faces.
Yeah, exactly. Come over on YouTube.
I shaved for you guys today.
Look at this. Look at this clean.
Yeah, Garrett's all fresh and clean.
If you're listening, you can't even see what I'm saying. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a good day. So, and it's also Red Friday, so we're both wearing red, and you can see that
if
you're watching this on YouTube.
Sunday probably at some point. We'll do a spaces.
See you guys
I'm
Sunday.
Sure.
Yeah, we might have a spaces.
Or live.
We
might be live on YouTube. We might be live on YouTube at halftime.
See what's going on around
the doing crazy stuff.
Boys. See what the Kingdom Says boys are doing on Sunday. It might be
special guest next week too. Big time special guest.
Forward to that. Maybe even 2, maybe even 3. I don't know. We'll see.
We definitely have one big time special guest for next week.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all we got for you. Be sure to watch out for us. On the next episode of The Kingdom Says.